In this tutorial, we will discuss the parameters required to connect to a database and demonstrate the two database connection methods that can be used for viewing and inspecting data with the FME Data Inspector. Using a database is different from using a file or folder-based format, as it requires specific parameter information to authenticate and connect to a database. While the parameters needed will vary for each database format, the parameters that are typically used include the server or host name, the network port number, the database or service name, the username, and the password. Connecting to an SQL Server database does not require the use of a port number. However, it does require an authentication method. The two authentication methods that can be used are SQL Server Authentication and Windows Authentication. For this tutorial series, we will be making use of SQL Server Authentication. Part 1 of this video will demonstrate the embed connection parameters. Embed connections require the user to enter the connection parameters each time a user would like to read from or write to a database. Let's begin by opening FME Data Inspector. Select File, Open Dataset from the menu bar to open the selection dialog. Set the format to Microsoft SQL Server Spatial. Define a dataset by choosing Embed Connection Parameters from the drop-down menu. Open the parameters and input the database connection parameter details for server, database, authentication, username, and password. Select the table Neighborhoods from the table list. Click OK to dismiss the parameters dialog box, and again to add the data into the FME Data Inspector. FME Data Inspector will display the geometry and attributes for all the neighborhoods in Vancouver that are stored in the SQL Server database. Part 2 of this video will demonstrate how to add database connections. Add database connections provide a simple and secure way to store and reuse connection parameters. With database connections, the connection is saved, and rather than having to re-enter the connection parameters, the connection becomes available through the drop-down menu of the Dataset field. Open Dataset from the menu bar, set the format to Microsoft SQL Server Spatial. Define the dataset by choosing Add Database Connection from the drop-down menu. Open the parameters and input the database connection parameter details for name, server, database, authentication, username, and password. Click Save to save the database parameters, and this opens the Select Dataset to View dialog. Click on Parameters and select the table Neighborhoods from the table list. Click OK to accept, and again to add the table to FME Data Inspector. Once saved, the name supplied in the parameters will become available through the Dataset drop-down menu. By selecting the connection name, you can quickly connect to a database without having to re-input the parameters.